Yeah.
Okay, we're live.
There's four.
People, we're calling the meeting to order.
Right, so.
It's the approval of the agenda and order of business. And Andre, you had some additions.
Just wanted to have a quick request for update on these workshops.
Workshops.
I want to add one item.
Yes.
I want to talk about comfort stations,
Comfort stations.
and particularly Chester.
I'd like to add a committee report on May, senior safety partnership under committee reports.
No, if we're in conversations, Bruce might want to be.
I'll ask them to come in.
Yeah.
And then the proclamation.
Proclamation, yeah. Well, as long as somebody's got it written out.
Yeah, so proclamation for Fire Prevention Week, we'll add that as well.
Yeah.
Please, under new business.
Well, my question on that relates maybe to the generator that apparently still not working in ours. And I just want to make sure that's dealt with. It's really one of issue.
Yeah. Okay, somebody want to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor, opposed, motion's carried. Public input,
Jen has none.
but we have two people here, so you're first.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, councilors. My name is Nancy Murray, and I've written a letter. So, yeah, you don't need to bear with me very long.
You've written two letters.
Well,
You
I
wrote
actually,
one a couple months ago, which
that was different.
oh,
This letter, yeah, well, this whole lighting issue in Chester, I'm not addressing the whole lighting issue in Chester because that is something for council on another day. Wharves, homes lit up like hotels and all the rest of it. That is, I know it's aesthetics. That's something for council, I think, another day. Today is a very simple one. I'm just asking you to turn off the gazebo lights, please. I see no reason that they are, excuse me, on at this time of the year. They're on right now. I left a 8:15 this morning. They were on.
Still on?
Still on. And I just, I understand the band concerts in the summer, Sunday evenings. Lights are necessary for the musicians until about 9 o'clock. And at Christmas time, we have Christmas tree there, we have singing, we have all kinds of activities around the gazebo. That makes sense. But the rest of the time, the neighbors, it's myself, it's the non-porters, Tim Harris right next door. Their son Ben, who has, some challenges.
Yeah.
His rooms are right next to that gazebo. And I know what it's like in my house, looking out from my living room, my dining room, my bedroom, my sunroom. All I can see at night is that glare of white light. And that's just wrong. It's not the character of this village. It doesn't send a good environmental message. And I've summarized those points in my letter sent this past week. The overarching issue of lighting is much more complicated tonight. We'll leave all that, but I'm just simply asking, please, for consideration, to turn the lights off. I don't know why that can't just be done, but apparently it needs a letter to council and council's decision to turn them off.
So I assume they're on
They're on timers.
with well, if they're still on this morning, it's because it's overcast. Like I got the street lights, a lot of our street lights are on. I don't know what to call it,
the sensor.
but yeah, some kind of a sensor that recognizes when it's dark enough to turn them on and when it's dark.
Sunlight.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Well, these are on timers, I think, Mr. Warden.
Well, if they are, that makes it simpler, I suppose.
That's my understanding. I mean, that's
And
what
I
I've
have
seen.
no idea.
Well,
Does
would there be
anybody-
any reason we couldn't turn them off? I mean, I know the vandalism, maybe, we might have them
Safety
on.
concern, with people using it.
Is there a particular time that you would like them turned off,
I
like
just don't want them
9?
on. Why are they on?
You don't want them on at all?
No, why are they on this time of year? They never were. I mean, this is all fairly recent when we put these LEDs in. I mean, people coming down to go in, look, they want to see what there is to see, which is the ocean, which is the horizon, which is the ferry.
Would there be a way we maybe, I know the public probably uses it in the evening sometimes for some people.
Yeah.
But
Almost never. I'm down, I live there.
would there
I
be
live
a way
across the
to
street.
take the bright lights and maybe have a better lighting than what is not so bright, just for the early hours of the evening for people to walk in the community or something like that.
Why are they on?
Why are they on?
Well,
That's
they're
the
not
question we
saying-
need to answer, I think. Why are they on?
There are streetlights that illuminate the area with respect.
Yes, team.
Yeah, certainly. So you mentioned doesn't fit with the character of the village. So I guess my question would be, what other, and again, I'm not saying that I'm not in agreement, but just for discussion, I guess, and for a better understanding or complete understanding across our municipality, I'm wondering what other public facilities such as gazebos or bandstands, the like, there might be community gathering locations and, you know, people gather any time of the day. It's a free world. I know in New Ross, the bandstand, the community bandstand, the lights are on a timer.
Are there residences in that direct vicinity?
And there are residents that would be close enough that we actually use the water to pressure wash. I didn't participate, I'll say we as if I helped, but the group, the Development Society, a week ago, pressure washed and used the water from a neighboring home with a hose. So it's fairly close, some of those houses. So I guess I'm just for, again, a better understanding because, you know, we're hearing from a few individuals, which one person matters, absolutely. We know that, right? Everyone matters. But I guess just before, you know, we make that decision, I guess, have we heard from others? If we've not, and the council representing the area, absolutely. So I guess I'm just trying to get a better understanding. The one in Chester Basin, it doesn't have electricity too.
That's
So-
not lit up
Yeah.
at night, but
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the whole credit union itself is lit up at night. But I mean, like the
Yeah.
playgrounds and stuff are all lit up, but it's streetlights, but they're
Okay.
most certainly lit
Yeah.
up.
Exactly. And there's no electricity, I don't think, to the bandstand in Chester Basin, because we discovered that when we did the blue lights a couple years ago, which is fine, right?
Yeah.
Again, just trying to get a better understanding of all of our community locations.
I would suggest we turn them off. There's streetlights in that area.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I understand why they're on when there's activities going on there, but really, this time of year, there wouldn't be
Hmm.
any use for
No,
it.
yeah,
And then-
just from a staff perspective, I mean, I think if they're on a timer, it's a kind of a non-issue. You can just change the timer. But they need to know that when somebody requests that they be on, that it's, yeah.
But why are they on? I mean, that's the question I'm asking.
Well, I assume they were on because it's a public,
But it's never, they haven't always been on. So something new. How long have you been living there, Nancy?
27 years, 28 years. And at some point, there was light on top of the gazebo, and then at some point, there were incandescents underneath for the Chester Brass Band concerts. But by the end of August, they were turned off, and that was it, until December. And then December, they were turned on for obvious reasons, and then they were not on.
what do you want, Derek?
Well, I need to know what if there's no reason to have them on. I know the one in the Heritage Society property, those lights aren't, I don't even know, it does have lights, but they're not on all the time.
I don't know.
So why I mean, somebody had to make a decision to turn them on.
I assume it's just because it was a public facility, so we.
I'd say that, you know, even simple Christmas lights, oftentimes you can get dusk dawn sensors that you can set them to go 2 hours after dark or whatever you choose to do. And I don't live there, but I walk that area or run it quite often, and I have seen people in there after dark sitting there, or a group of people just talking or whatever. I have seen that. And I presume that might have been some sort of thought. Now, should it be on at 3 o'clock in the morning? Maybe that seems a bit excessive, but you know, if dark comes at 7 or whatever, and they're on until 9, or that's maybe more reasonable. I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of reasonable balance here between safety and usability and maybe some sort of potential irritation or annoyance to the neighbors.
Maybe it's just as simple as the timers aren't working correctly.
Or maybe instead of having a straight up timer, and maybe a dusk dawn sensor or something.
Why don't you come and I'll invite anyone of you, come down to my house at night, come and sit with me. All right, and let's just see what you think aesthetically. Does this make any sense at all? Is it necessary?
No, I
Come to
don't
my
have
house,
to. I'm
Come on
familiar
into
with
my
it.
house.
I mean, I had a street light right across the street myself, and I. Whether,
I think it seems to me like they're too bright, and I sort of agree with Andrea, I think a couple hours of evening makes sense. But do they have to be these big bright lights?
why not?
Rather than just something that somebody has enough to see when they go in there, but I think people like to go out in the evening. And if we're gonna make it available to the public, having it a few hours in the evening does not seem unreasonable to me.
Well, why don't staff get in? First off, I don't know whether we can change the brightness of the lights. I don't know whether they're on a timer or whether it's just run by daylight and dark and whether.
Do they go off? at midnight?
They go off. Now, it's changed now since the storm. But it was coming on at 6 in the morning. I don't know what time in the morning they went off because it's bright. They came on in the evening, probably 6-ish until 11 at night. And they are extremely bright blue-white LEDs. They are annoying. They really and truly are. You can't see the stars. You cannot see.
Well, we just need staff to tell us, can we change the timing?
Yeah,
And
we
can- and
can come back
and
with
can-
some,
and can we reduce the brightness?
I'd like them off.
Yeah,
Mr. Ward.
I know that, but I'm hearing that other people think that for a certain degree, they should be on. If we can help you and not exactly turn them off, then.
We'll do a little bit of research as well on the.
Wanna know what the options are.
On the safety issue. We have recently had safety, accessibility audits of our municipal
Yes,
office and our annex.
And lighting's
you know,
one of the issues.
The usual suspects are, ramps and slopes of ramps, elevators, etc. But we're learning that there's far more to accessibility than just the ramps. There's lighting, there's color contrast, there's signage. And so I would want to look at the safety issue and perhaps get some advice from an expert on, is lighting required for safety or not? So we can bring back, I just wanted to raise that because I think we will have some changes to do in our public infrastructure related to
Accessibility.
lighting and accessibility. So that's a visual, there can be visual impairments where lighting is essential for safety. So we'll come back with some information and then we can land in a place, I think, that hopefully balances all the interests.
My question was why, and the reason why
Yeah.
you should be off. So let's wait for that to come back and then we'll revisit it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the meantime, I may take you up on your offer and come down and.
Come on down. You're all welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
consideration, everyone.
Nice, Nancy.
We have the next person. Who's one? Yeah. Mrs. Bremner?
Yes.
I was just wondering if you had any answers to my problem the last meeting.
Second.
I think it's before council.
I guess you don't.
No, we don't. We have a presentation from our legal, some legal advice at the end of the meeting in camera.
So you don't have no answers.
Not until we receive that advice.
Okay. She doesn't want lights. I would like lights.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any street lights of the municipality on my street. There's private ones, but no street lights.
No public ones, yeah.
No public ones.
Yeah, well, see, there's the dilemma we often find ourselves in. People don't necessarily agree.
Where do you want the light?
Where do I want the lights? I don't particularly want a light anywhere in particular, but there's none on the street at all. Like there's no street lights on our street. There's poles, yes. My neighbor, Ray Sneer, had a light put on his property. And I see
Traditionally, we
Eugene
use
Grace has one
3-second pole.
down on the corner, but there's no street lights. Every other street has street lights.
So in the case of where you live on the street, would it not be just something that would be the possibility of an area rate specific to the residents, like again.
I don't know whether.
I don't know,
compares.
I can only compare it to my area. So in my area, New Ross,
Yes,
there are streetlights just at the cross. And the particular, and again, I'm sure it's like this most places, not in 2 districts, but those residents in that particular area pay that area rate. So it's as simple as that in terms of that particular area. So would that not be the case where you are looking, possibly work with your counselor to identify that area,
They're probably already paying the street light rate where she is.
and that would make it that much easier?
It is on, like, my tax bill, everybody pays
I know
the
that.
rate, not just the particular ones in, because
Because
there's
there's-
no area in the cross. So
So,
it's spread out over everybody.
so Mrs. Brenner, what Sharon's
You just need
referring,
to take a look at it.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at it.
just to further clarify Councillor Church's comments, the streetlights in her area, I believe, have been identified maybe at the where perpendicular, where maybe a road hits another, the main road.
Intersections and-
So it's the main general common good area. And I'm thinking about that in my area, so that there may be like a 1/2 of a cent or 1/4 of a cent on everyone's tax bill. But it's a little different. So just for clarification around that streetlight comparison.
okay.
Okay, Derek, you'll have to just decide what you want to do, because that's
Derek,
the
you
way.
come out and walk the street with me.
I'd love to.
Your calendar's filling up.
Come out and walk the street with me.
Okay, so Manny's
Okay.
here.
No, Tim's here now.
Uh,
Yeah, it was Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Coming at 9, and he's here. Nope, not yet.
Oh,
Presentation.
Oh, she's at, no,
Yeah.
Ashley, next time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's it for that. Cancel minutes, previous meeting, September the 8th. Any errors or omissions there?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, committee of the whole. Motions, we have some motions that require approval. Does anybody want anything separated, or are y'all fine with the way they are? It's only 2.
I will move that we approve the 2 motions, 2022-36A, 2022-270.
Seconder,
Second.
discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. Okay. Ashley Smith.
Get today's Wi-Fi password. Yeah. if you want to do it.
Good morning.
I can't get my email without the password. I'll have to catch it
Oh.
right.
Oh.
I don't have my
it.
phone over
Yeah, I
here.
have it.
So I'll enter it on the phone. Thank you.
SUQIYEK 76. That's it, right?
We the Zoom link is the best way to find it. Just on.
Well, pretty jaundiced.
Oh, it's gonna share screen on Zoom link. Is that still the best way, or is there? HDMI?
Adele, you
The
wouldn't go
share
help her
screen,
with that, would you?
Sure. Won't you like to- Nina Figli.
Where do I find them? Oh, it was right in that email that we sent. Yes.
No, go. Oh, yeah. I'm not a doctor, bro.
Couldn't help.
No, you can try, yeah, we can tag team and see what.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, just waiting to be ready.
Yes.
Drink whatever cement bars.
You stand there.
Okay.
This was,
Well then.
tried this from Penny's.
My cousin would airborne.
You get it from here.
There we go, we got something.
There we go.
Okay.
I'm muting Zoom. I'm
You
muting
have our
computer.
attention.
Whew, yes. Those echoes, I know, they're always these hybrid meetings, right? All right, all connected, thank you. I am Ashley Munsmith, the CEO and Chief Librarian of Social Public Libraries. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I'm just going to present some highlights of our recent work in our communities.
Okay.
And this is our 50th year anniversary, so
50
lots to
years.
highlight, yes. First library opened in Lunenburg in 1972 here on the South Shore. So whether it's viewing an art gallery or just coming in out of the cold or charging your cell phone last weekend, we had people coming in who didn't have power at home. There really is something for everyone at the library. This is a chart of the 9 provincial library systems, and I just wanted to highlight that last fiscal year, 2021-22, South Shore Public Libraries was second only to Halifax in the average number of weekly open hours per location. And third in annual in-person visits. So this is as if every resident of South Shore Public Libraries had visited a physical location nearly 2 times last year. And what do you find when you enter? Obviously, we have family literacy collections, board games, picture books, and so on. Whether you borrow them or read them in the library, reading together sets up kids for success in school and beyond, as well as the many games, toys, and craft programs that we have encourage imagination and play, which helps instill a lifelong love of learning. As well, our physical spaces, including the bookmobile, which has 7 charging stations. Again, if you don't have power, our generators can help charge your devices, and Wi-Fi use all around the bookmobile. We do have people coming and taking a test in their car outside of the libraries, even when they're not open. As well, people coming inside and working and studying as more people are doing that remotely. It's a nice place to do that away from the distractions of home. In terms of our library service, we have our new bookmobile that launched in August of 2021. It is still very well used, one of 2 bookmobiles still on the road in Nova Scotia. We have 6 District of Chester stops, 1 in New Ross, 2 in Chester, Chester Basin, Blandford, and Chester Grant. Using our old bookmobile that was replaced by the new one, we actually received a provincial grant that enabled us to use this second bookmobile and provide staff and gas and so on to add even more additional locations. So this year, our first pilot stop was at the Espetogan Heritage Trust from July 20th to August 19th. We signed up people for cards. We ran a story time in the morning, adult tech help in the afternoon, and it was open 2 days a week from Wednesday and Friday from 11 to 4. So we're going to continue with this project through the grant funding as a pilot and just see where other communities we might be able to serve. Using a federal grant from the Department of Canadian Heritage, which is the largest grant that SSPL has received, largest single grant over 2 years. We are also providing services on reserve at Gold River for the first time ever. So we're working with their local council to develop culturally sensitive services and programs. And we actually attended the Maui-Ami on Sunday, September 11th with our bookmobile, and had people pick up rapid tests, sign up for cards, circulate materials, and it was a really wonderful time and a great launch to the project. After 5 years of planning and implementation, we launched a new catalog in January of 2022. It's called Same Page. It connects all 8 regional library systems, save Halifax Public Libraries, one consortial catalog. So now when you sign up for a card, you're connected to all of the libraries from Yarmouth to Cape Breton. There's over 1 million items to borrow, and the items arrive really quickly through the mail. The mail comes twice a day, and they fill 3 or 4 book carts full of items for people. So there's lots of things coming and going.
You say you're not Halifax?
Not Halifax Public Libraries,
Why
no.
not?
They chose to stand alone. Obviously, they have a much different collection and population, and so their catalog is separate. You are still eligible for a card. Every Nova Scotian can get a card, a Same Page card and an HPL card, and then they can make use of both collections. And we can still bring in items from Halifax. It would just be through interlibrary loan.
Yeah.
And our borrowing, despite a dip, of course, during the pandemic, when we were in curbside pickup mode, still remains high. In the last fiscal year, we circulated over 199,000 physical items and over 25,000 digital items. In terms of our expenditure per capita, our funding in the last, 2 fiscal years ago, the last one that I have comparative for the whole province was $27.84. 70% of that is provincial, 27% municipal, and 3% self-generated by the library board. So you can see we're on the low end of this scale province-wide. On the other hand, we're second only to Halifax again for per capita collection spending. So that means that we're keeping administrative and facility costs low and so on, and putting more of our funding back into the collection where it matters to keep it relevant. And I think you can see that the results are paying off. We're third in terms of annual borrowing per capita. So, pardon me, this is as if, again, every resident had borrowed nearly 4 items from the library last year. BookNet Canada lists the average book price for that same year as between about $16 and $23. So those 4 items represent a borrowing value to social residents of about $63 to $89. Pardon me. Some other services that we offer, we distribute rapid tests. And since we started in December of 2021, we've distributed more than 220,000 boxes, which contain 5 tests each. We also offered assistance for residents to book their vaccine appointments. Navigating that system was complicated for a lot of people. So over the telephone, and if they didn't have internet access at all, we could actually walk them through the process and do it for them. We also printed proof of vaccination papers for free. And we had a program called, or still it's continuing, called Caring Calls, which actually won us an International American Library Association award. And this was where staff proactively call residents, members in our database, just simply to check in on them and see how they're doing. So we now have a roster of regular callers, as well as we're still working through the database. And it is a really great way to help fight isolation and loneliness. Most of the people we call are seniors. And so it's been really welcomed by the community. And lastly, I'm going to touch on our programs, which help inspire curiosity and discovery and learning. Last fiscal year, we offered over 1,000 programs, attended by over 5,300 people, and that was in-person programs. Despite the pandemic, we were able to offer them using all protocols and physical distancing. Some of the offerings include Babies and Books, which obviously inspires a love of literacy and also helps battle isolation for the parents who are home. This year we had a garden club. We had one for children and one another morning for adults, and it was all summer at the Lunenburg Library in the community garden behind the library. We had our first partnership with Lunenburg Pride to offer a drag queen story time this past August, and it was attended by over 125 people. It's been featured in a lot of media outlets, including Social Breaker and Lighthouse Now, and it was really, really well received by the community. Mi'kmaq Moons was another program that was offered related to timekeeping and astrology, and it helps meet the awareness and education goals of the Truth and Reconciliation Calls to Action. We had an online teen summer book club hosted on Discord, which was a great way to reach a wider audience without necessarily the teens, or without the teens having to find a drive to a physical location. Our Lunenburg Lit Festival happened this past weekend, and although some events had to be canceled and rearranged due to the storm, we still had a great turnout, and people really, the authors and those attending really enjoyed the festival. And again, I'll end by noting that it is our 50th anniversary, so we've had a few different celebrations throughout the year. We also produced a short film to highlight what the library means to the residents, and I'd like to end my time by showing that film.
Good. Does the screen work over here?
Doesn't appear to.
It's just not turned on. It's just not working.
broken.
Okay, now I don't want the echo again of my audio being unmuted. We're going to see how I might be able to share the audio of this film.
Do that.
If you mute your speakers on your laptop.
Yep.
And then just don't join the audio on Zoom, and you should be okay. It should still play,
Makes sense to me.
I think.
Okay, so mute the speakers on
I've
the
seen this before in
laptop.
movies. It's as they're going through a wormhole. I think I saw it on Interstellar.
How do I? Yeah, and you're saying unjoin the audio? Unjoin?
Well, try it with, if you mute your speakers, it might be okay.
No, I can't. My speakers are muted, there's no audio. That's not good.
So unmute your speakers and don't join the audio in Zoom then and see if that works.
I have already joined. Should I leave the meeting and come back?
No, you can just,
Unjoin?
You just gotta get the right person.
I know, the mix, the right mix of sound, right?
I think you can just in Zoom.
You're a wizard.
Oh, you're not in the audio on Zoom.
Well, I needed them to join. It's a giant computer.
Tune in, like one of those things.
No, seen somebody who did the other day, and they're crazy.
I was gonna go on Saturday.
Really? This coming Saturday.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
We've never
yeah,
done
right.
this. We've never done
You'd have been
I've been
you.
here on it.
I was trying to figure it just a little cleaner than it was before.
Yeah. We were lucky we didn't get
It might be quicker to
on
just
social.
leave and come back.
Leave the meeting and come back in.
Try that, yeah. We've never done a video on Zoom, so not when the person's been in the room, so it's always been when the person's not in the room, and because the owl picks up the sound, it's different than if you're at home.
So we sent her, will it work?
It might.
Get rid of that darn owl.
Yeah.
Turn the owl down.
Yeah, plug in. Oh, then they couldn't hear us.
Yeah, take the owl off.
Continue with their audio. Okay, this is good. Okay, try again.
Okay.
I probably started going to the library when I was about 5 or 6, so it's 70 years ago. Library is a huge deal to me. People think of the library as just a place to get books, but we have so much more material than that.
It's not only about books, that's definitely an old misconception. No, we're really about everybody coming in. We are open to everyone. The library is great for seniors, but it's also fantastic for 0 and up. So we start right at the bottom with babies and books, and it's really important to get that early exposure to the library, not just for literacy skills, but it's also for early socialization. But once they're early to mid-teens, then we're talking about tablets and green screen movies and 3D printing.
We really are what the community needs us to be. And that's why we've been evolving, because as those needs evolve, we evolve with it. Libraries aren't just for kids, they're for everyone.
We want people to feel comfortable coming here. We want people to enjoy the space. People think of the library as just a place to get books, but we have so much more material than that. We do have technology courses here at the library, and one of those classes we've offered are learning how to use social media.
We want to continue to respond to their changing needs, and that's reflected in what we collect in terms of books. It's reflected in how and what we do, so the types of programs, the types of partnerships we do. We're going to work however we can to reflect what society is changing into and what they're looking for in their next interest, and we're going to help make that happen.
I think the range of people using the library has broadened. We have people from all demographics, income levels.
We've got to fashion our service to what our public want, because we are here for them. This is what the library is about.
When we moved here 20 years ago, we found that we had a book press right here, and we've been visiting it every Thursday since. And it's been great for my wife, myself, my 2 girls.
We need to be there for them. We need to take on board their views. What are their opinions of us? What would they like to see here in the library?
Growing up, I've brought my kids here because it starts at a very young age with toddlers here, you know, introducing them to literature and hearing people read.
My intention is to teach STEM to kids, and we target kids, especially because kids are very curious people and they have curious minds.
Libraries will always be a part of their lives. jobs because they've always saw it as a place to come and meet with people and find out information.
We fill the needs of different populations in a couple of ways. We've got through collections and then also through a lot of the programming that libraries put on.
Which is quite exciting because now younger people are becoming involved in finding out information and finding out how to do different things. It's more experiential, they're learning.
So we, at Social Public Libraries, we have several ways that you can use our items or get our items without having to come to the library. For example, we have something we call deposits to all the homes for special care. We also have a service called Books by Mail. You can give us a call. You can pick the books up for yourself, or you can go online and pick them out, and we will send them to you by mail.
I've been a patron of the library for over 60 years. There's a lot more to the library. There's a lot of digital access to the library now. I order all of my books online. It's a great system. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource.
I think the library is headed wherever the world heads. So as new technology evolves, we'll get that technology, our staff will learn how to use it, and then we can teach the public how to use it.
If you haven't been into your library in a while, like maybe it was since you were in school, you don't know what you're missing. We really have got something for you. You might not know what it is.
The library is the best kept secret. It is, in 40 years, the price has never gone up.
Right, stop sharing, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Anybody have questions?
No, just comment, the bookmobile service is fantastic.
Yeah.
I know in our area, it's used whenever it's there, it's a good service.
Yeah.
Not a question, but just a thank you. So I know that you're making, as a board member, I know that you're making the rounds through all of Lunenburg Queens. So I think that's very important. So thank you for being here at this municipal unit as well. I think with all of the budget investments and deliberations that we may have to do here at this table, the library is a pretty easy one, I think.
Yeah.
I think absolutely. During the time of COVID, I'm not sure that we're still in COVID or not, but during the time of COVID, I know that through the bookmobile service especially, and I can only speak first, kind of firsthand testimonial because I'm outside of the core. The fact of the service of the bookmobile was so crucial. It was instrumental. It was just so such a lifeline, really. And I know I had, it just happened upon that I was down there in December. Christina knew I was coming, so I actually ended up being on the bookmobile the entire time that it was in New Ross, distributing those kits. And there were a few people that came from outside of New Ross because they knew it was there. They had heard from somebody. So within that 2-hour window, they were there from actually Allen's, Chester Basin and Kentville. So they came from both ends. And that's important because, again, we're all people in this community and in the province and so on. So I think what took place during COVID with the ability to connect with people with the rapid test, home test kits, that was so important to people. And then I'm just going to talk with the bookmobile and then I'll be finished. But I think also to the bookmobile, and I know that Sharon, Councillor Church has referenced it, but I think that we've all been impacted either directly through our family members. But what I'm seeing now are new community members discovering the service. As a gentleman there that referenced moving here 20 years ago in the 2 counties, I don't know him, but new people in my community that are discovering what? The bookmobile still exists in Nova Scotia, and Soul Shore is one of a couple of areas. And I mean, that just fills you with pride. It really does. So what we're able to do, I think here at this table, but at the board table and so on, it's a crucial piece of resident attraction and resident retention. And that of course means business attraction and business. We all know that, but I think it's a really important piece. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. With the price of gas, especially, I know a lot of systems are seeing it's not a viable option, a bookmobile, but I just think you can reach so many more people
Yeah.
by being mobile and going where the people are instead of relying on them to come. And so I'm really proud of that.
Just, and again, great success last week with the parent-teacher evening at CD here in Chester in the village. Yeah, no, fantastic. Good news stories all around.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jimmy, you're up next.
The money man.
Money.
Which item of what are we on now? Is it
No,
the
that's
second
right,
reading?
because, he was worried about us getting to 8.1 too quickly.
I just didn't want you to skip ahead before.
Well, I'm on
I know sometimes-
7.1.
7.1, yes.
Yep,
That's-
so
yeah.
this will be the second reading of the tax exemption policy that I presented to you 2 weeks ago. So is there any follow-up questions or any discussion?
You just need a motion to approve it, right?
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Pardon me?
Correct.
I'll second that.
Discussion, all those in favor, opposed, motion's carried. We already did the committee and we approved the motions.
Committee reports.
Good job, Karen.
Sorry.
Excellent.
That was tough, Tim.
Oh, yeah, Tina, you did have a senior safety or something.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot.
Sorry.
No. Well, I just had that listed under my new business.
I know, it's easy. We would, it's no matter where on the agenda, right?
Yeah.
So just a comment or two, because it's been a while since I have even made reference to the committee. I've been a bit slack on that in terms of under committee reports. Not sure who may be aware here at the table that Chris Acomb and Carol Hipwell have both left the partnership. So I didn't know, and maybe that's part of the reason why I just held off a bit, because we are at the tail end of hiring. So I'm not on the hiring committee, but we did have a meeting yesterday and that was the report. So we'll know more on that next week, or we may not, depending on how those intimate discussions go with the successful candidates or identified successful candidates. So prior to the departure of the coordinators, contact was made by the staff and because everything left on a good note. So by the staff and also some of the board members to all of our partner organizations, support agencies, resource agencies. And I know I was going to give you some examples, but I can't quite find them. So mental health, social services, adult protection, home care, and so on and so on. So contact was made to those partner organizations, and we see them as partner organizations to senior safety. We, on another note, which will be very exciting to some that really embrace strategic planning, we again are pretty much between yesterday and in the next 2 weeks, we will be approving our strategic plan for the organization, and we've identified the priorities to take us through to 2025. So that's an internal document, but I'm sure it will be, public if need be, but it's pretty typical of a strategic plan. Nothing's gonna jump out necessarily, but it just allows us to better focus, I think, as an organization moving in. I know that we have, moving along, sorry, I know that we have committee nominations annually here, typically in November. So, there could be interest from others around the table that may, want to join the team, and I would step away and we might want to just talk about that. So I think that there's always that on the table. So that's all for now. Thank you.
Anybody questions?
No, I just comment, that's a good idea. I think that some people
You might be
learning how to work with
interested.
seniors may not be bad for some people.
Yeah.
Why is everybody keep putting it?
Who are we looking at?
I'm looking at Floyd.
I'm looking at Andre.
I also was
I think
considering
that's
Counselor
super.
Bino, yeah.
Andre needs to get in touch with us.
And I'm glad that I'm on the nominating committee this coming fall.
I hope I am.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, I'll punch his balls now.
Oh, that's not too much there.
Anyway, thank you, Tina. Okay, move along before we get in any more trouble. Regional Emergency Management Bylaw 146.
That was previously approved by council, but when we sent it to municipal affairs, they requested that it be repealed and replaced rather than amended.
Oh, so we need a motion to repeal and replace.
Yes, right. First reading.
First notice of to repeal and replace.
Is there a reason for that?
They just felt it was more clean to repeal and replace rather than to make so many changes throughout the document.
It's just as easy to do what they want.
So I'm looking for something to justify there. Anyway, no, yes, of course.
It's just simpler to do what they
Repeal
want.
and replace.
Is that a motion? First notice, give first notice.
I'll second Derek's motion.
Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried.
Thanks.
Who's texting me for what?
Not one to be next slide.
Oh,
I think John's coming in.
okay. 7.3, flag raising protocol policy. First notice to amend policy to include list of pre-approved flags.
I think Jennifer was planning on coming in just for a quick,
Can she wants, but it's
you can
Yeah.
beat her to the punch if you wish.
So,
most pretty straightforward.
Yes.
I wasn't, but.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. You see, I was gonna just get it done without you.
Feel free.
Somebody want to do it? Somebody want to move it?
so moved.
Second. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jen.
Jennifer.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Your insight was very useful. 8.1, information report prepared financial information services, tax payments for credit cards.
Yes.
All right. So this is a topic that comes up once in a while, and so it seemed appropriate to provide you all with some information so that you're aware of some of the reasons behind the decisions we make and are able to perhaps share that with residents as they come up to you. I know it comes up once in a while at the counter, so it's just that, we do accept a number of payment options for paying credit card, for paying tax bills. So that would include Interact, cash, checks. Your mortgage company could pay for it. You could, there's a whole bunch of different options. We do not accept credit cards directly for tax payments. And so we do have a payment provider that we've set up with so that residents who choose to can still use their credit cards. It's just not directly through us. They would either go online or call our third-party provider called Paymentus. And Paymentus will charge them a small fee on top of the bill to facilitate that transaction.
What's the small fee?
It ranges between 2.65 and 3%. It varies based on the amount being paid. We have that information available, but it runs about 2.6 to 3% depending on various things.
Remove the word small and just say fee.
Okay.
I don't think that's small fee. Some of these taxes are pretty high.
Okay.
Yeah, small point.
Well, maybe not small. Sorry. So in general, well, first of all, I guess I want to make it clear that the municipality does not ever charge anybody an additional fee on top of their tax bill for any purposes whatsoever. Sometimes, you know, if you do an e-transfer, your bank might charge you a little bit for that fee. If you're writing a check, you're paying a little bit for that. If you use your credit card, Paymentus charges you something for that. We do charge 1% interest per month for late payments. If people haven't paid on time, whatever the outstanding balance is, they get 1% per month. And that's not on top of the interest, that's just on top of the tax bill that's outstanding. And so in general, there are two groups of people who might choose to use their credit card to pay for their tax bill. The first group would be people who are not able to pay the entire bill on time through another method and need to rely on credit to do that. So for these people, of course, we can set up payment plans, right? They can have an automated monthly payment. We only charge that 1% per month. So in fact, just paying their bill directly through a delayed process is cheaper for them in the long run than it would be to use their credit card and pay their 20 to 30% interest on top of interest as well. And then the second group of people who might be interested in using their credit cards are the people who obtain benefits from using the card, cash back, air miles, whatever. And the companies that provide those benefits, the credit card companies, they fund those benefits through that fee that they charge, right? So Paymentus charges a fee. If we were to accept credit cards directly, we would pay that fee and it would be funded through the general tax rate. So everyone in the municipality who owns property would be funding the benefits of the people who choose to use their. Right. And so the way it's set up now, the people who choose to use their card for benefits can make their own decision as to whether the benefit they receive is worth that incremental charge that they would pay. It comes out of our hands. It's up to them to make that decision. It's not put on all the residents. It's just individually incurred. So we do accept credit cards for certain types of payments, not tax payments. So permits, recreation programs, that type of thing. The difference there is that, first of all, these are discretionary programs. Someone can choose whether or not to participate in a recreation program or whether or not to, build a new building or anything like that. Whereas tax payments are not discretionary; they are required. You own a property, you owe taxes.
Yeah.
And secondly, it's very small figure. It's about $750 a year. That is very small on the scale of our $30 million budget. And it is included within.
I was only smiling.
It is included within the program budgets for those specific program areas.
Yes, it is small.
Yes, that is quite small. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to pay you $750 right now. I think that would be quite a large thing to have to come up with on the spot, but for a municipality over the course of the year, it's pretty small. During the course of researching this report to you, we reached out through the AMA listserv to ask if other municipalities had similar thoughts and processes.
Yeah.
We received 17 replies from municipalities within Nova Scotia. Of those 17, 12 have the exact same practice as we do with a third-party credit card provider, which charges an incremental fee directly to the payer outside of the municipality. There were another 4 that do not accept credit cards for any type of payment, including the recreation, the development permits, any of that stuff. And only one of the municipalities we spoke to or who replied does include the credit card processing fees in their general budget, so accepts those credit card payments directly.
So what are you suggesting we do?
I am not suggesting we change anything at all. I think the way we do it is appropriate and fair, the best options we can provide. Really, I just wanted to make sure that you were all armed with this information so that you're aware of why and how we do things and that you are able to answer those questions if anybody does question to you why they can't just come to the counter with their credit card.
Nobody's ever complained.
I found that your report interesting, the way you laid it out. Why we don't accept credit cards? It makes sense to me.
Is there a process where every 6 months you can, like when I pay my taxes, I pay it online through my bank account. Is there some way to set it up that we do that automatically and I don't have to do it?
Yeah, we set up pre-authorized payment plans.
Where you take it out of the account? Or
Yeah, so you can set it up. A resident can come in, they would fill out a form, they'd set something up with Christine or one of the other ladies down in the tax window. So right now we have, when I prepared this a couple weeks ago, 99 accounts currently are signed up on that pre-authorized payment. 60 of them just pay in full whenever their tax bill comes due. 38 have a monthly payment plan, and one of them pays twice per month. So you can arrange whatever payment option works best for you. I know personally, I've just set up a pre-authorized payment plan to make my taxes simpler. And yeah, it's a really good option for people.
Can't do that online and do it downstairs.
Yeah, you'd have to set it up initially. Either, I don't know if you could do it over the phone. It's best to do in person because you probably have to sign some stuff. But once it's set up, it's just up and running. And unless you want to change it, you can just leave well enough alone.
Just take care of the rolling.
Yeah, so that's what 60 of the 99 have it, just whatever their tax bill is due, that amount gets withdrawn. And others have monthly amounts, so it would be a portion.
So if you pay it monthly, is there any interest charge on that?
Oh, it would depend on how much you owe and how much you're paying. If you're paying slower than the due date, then there would be a 1% interest applied for each balance at the end of each month.
Okay.
But if you set it up so that you're paying in advance 1/6 of your biannual bill, then you wouldn't incur any interest.
That's a good idea.
So there's tons and tons of
Lots of ways to
You don't
pay.
need a credit card.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and for the people who do get a benefit from using their card, they're free to make that choice and pay that incremental fee themselves. So
Okay, we all good?
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Great,
you.
thanks, Ken.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay, so 8.2 is gone, right? So I'm on 8.3, infrastructure operations, Otter Point wastewater treatment plant upgrade.
I'm gonna declare conflict.
Okay. The record shows that Councilor Reno declared conflict. Fred.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Freddie.
Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, with the Otter Point wastewater treatment plant upgrade, it was non-compliant. There were issues with the treatment and the disinfection. So we brought a report to council on May 4th, requesting approval to proceed for design to see what the fixes are, and also to pursue the provincial capital assistance program funding. We were successful with PCAP, so they'll pay 50%, up to 50,000. And we went out to 3 companies for that invite. Let's see. Yeah. We received 3 proposals back. The proposal we feel was the best value was from Able Engineering for 34,150. And some of the highlights of the proposal, of course, is that they're going to work with staff toward the solution. They're going to give it a really good assessment, and then they'll bring recommendations and pricing back to us, and we'll present to council for direction. And should it be approved, then the construction will be in the 2023 construction year. And this costs 34,150. That's basically for the design, determine what the solution is. And they did allow some pricing, of course, for construction inspection next year, should the project proceed. And that's the highlights of the report. Open to any questions, but definitely our recommendation is for Able to be awarded the design of the Otter Point wastewater treatment plant design for $34,140.
Are the best price.
It looks like they won the easy, so I'll make a motion to award the contract to Ames Engineering. That costs us 34,150 plus HST.
All second that motion. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
Council, I just did want to, Fred didn't, thank you, Fred. I just wanted to touch on that you might see in this request for decision some additional information on all the bidders. That was in response to the feedback we received from council to have a little more transparency in these decision-making. So we've did the privacy, information and privacy review. So we haven't highlighted company names, but we think it hopefully strikes that balance.
I'll give you an idea what the other bidders are.
Yeah. So thank you, Manny. Thank you.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break before we go into the next one, because that could take a while.